Straight on the Point with your host from some undisclosed location. Here's Jesse T.
Okay. Hey, we're back on the air and everywhere, getting this connection all lined up for you. It's the Jesse T Show today at just a little after 5 o'clock. Good to have you along with us as we're hooking things up here on thepowerofvoices.com. Lee back at the studio. Thank you very much. We're in a remote location right now. And sometimes this location where I'm at, it sometimes breaks up here, up in the high desert of Colorado, because that's where I'm at. I'm in the high desert of Colorado. Or I might be in Wyoming. I don't know. I might be in North Dakota. Quite frankly, sometimes I wake up and I have no idea where I am at. That sometimes happens. Does it ever happen to you where you wake up sometimes and you get out of bed real quick and all of a sudden you say, wait a second, where am I? What year is it? What day is it? Nothing is recognizable. That's happening to me more and more and more in my life. I don't know what's going on. It must be the signs of age. Yes, the brown beauty is on duty with the speckly, sparkly gray hair, the salt and pepper look. Yeah, baby. Someone said to me the other day, you ought to go get that Grecian Formula 44 or 49 or whatever it is. And I said, you got to be kidding me. No, I like the gray salt and pepper look. I'm going to let it go. Soon enough, in about 2 or 3 years, I'm going to be white. I'm going to have white hair, gray hair. It's actually going to be gray, white, gray. That's what it's going to do. I know. We're on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. Good to have you along on the Power of Voices, of course, on Facebook there, as well as on YouTube Live. We got a great show lined up for us today, and we'll be getting into that in just a second. Always check us out on Instagram Live, which I'm hooking up right now on the little phone, because for whatever reasons, the big stuff isn't working today, so we go micro. It's funny how today's technology, how micro works better than large things. I don't know why that is. I mean, the world is sort of getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and the technology is getting more advanced and more advanced and more advanced. Soon enough, these smartphones, I was reading an article the other day, and these smartphones are going to go away. We're going to stop carrying this, literally. It's going to be on our glasses. It's going to be on our skin. It's going to be things that will pop up in like contact lenses. They'll have goggles, these goggles that we'll all wear. They'll make it look cool, I'm sure. That's what they'll do for the public. But that's what kind of where it's going to. The people that are making these smartphones and stuff. I read an article about the guy who actually created the Android, because, iPhone and Apple, of course, were there first. And you had all the other ones. You had, do you remember the flip-up phones? And Nokia was the big one. That was just about almost in every movie. They had product placement, Nokia. But the smartphone and iPhone really started to advance over that quite quickly, and those phones kind of went by the wayside. Those companies, they had to finally learn how to do something else. As we get us going now on Instagram Live, that's what we're doing here. Okay, so we'll bring them on in just a second as we are going live there. All right, hey, we're back on Instagram Live too, and the Jesse T Show. So it's good to have you up here. I'll kind of set that one right there on the computer. So we've got it going on for you here on Tuesday in Southern California. It's an absolutely beautiful day in Los Angeles. It is amazing how our weather can go from rainy, cloudy, and lightning and thunder to instantly. Thanks a lot for Mr. Schultz who have us on. Thank you. I really appreciate you checking in. Rich, thank you very much, and thanks for the nice compliment. We appreciate you too, my friend. And always chime in here with open thoughts. Always, we'll get them out. I have no problem in putting stuff that might be a little controversial on the air. Hey, I can't help but being me, Jesse T. And also checking in, William Constantine is checking in. Thanks a lot, William, too. And we're starting to add up those chimes as we go. And once again, we really appreciate the community that we're building here. And I can't do it without you. So please share the show out. push it on down the line, whether you're on Instagram, live stream, Periscope, or you're on Uspeak or Ustream or Snapchat, or you're on Facebook. Please push it down the line. YouTube, we like YouTube as well. So I appreciate that, guys. All right. So anyhow, the technology is getting smaller and smaller, and it's just amazing. It just baffles me. Maybe what it's going to be like in 20 to 25 years. Of course, I'll be a lot older, and I probably won't care because my teeth will be falling out, my eyeballs will fall out, and I'll probably have, dribbling on my shirt. Or I'll have some great stem cell shooting in me, some stem cell research, and I'll look like I'm 25 years old again. I don't know. Hey, maybe, advancing of technology is really happening. But a beautiful day here in Southern California, kind of a day you want to go out to the beach. That's how nice it is for those of you who are on the East Coast and in the South and up in the Northeast. It is cold and rainy and tornado season down in Texas right now, so it's like tornado warning 5 times a day. I don't think I'd like to live in that kind of environment. I'll deal with the not knowing when an earthquake is coming, because when the earthquake happens, it's going to be the big one like Sanford and Son. It's the big one. It's the big one. It's the big one. I can feel it, right? Yeah. The interesting story behind Red Fox there and Sanford and Son. Red Fox, if you've never seen him live and his performance, he was actually the king of blue comedy. They used to call it blue comedy because it was, a lot of profanity, a lot of racial things, a lot of stuff. And Red Fox was the king of that. And he used to perform in front of a lot of white audiences in New York and Chicago and Cleveland, and as well as African-American audiences as well, and any audience that would pay him. Because Red Fox was a man, you put money in front of him like James Brown. And he said, hey, I feel good, right? I mean, give me the money, honey. But Red Fox is interesting about Sanford and Son because it was actually Norman Lear and the people who produced that. Actually, it was from an English comedy that was called Something Different. And Norman Lear saw that, and that's where he saw All in the Family on an English comedy in England on the BBC. And they brought these ideas over to America. So, sometimes you think these genius things are genius by these people, but you really don't know the background story and how they got these ideas. I mean, it's pretty amazing. It really is when you think about it, on how some of the most genius ideas really weren't genius from the geniuses who thought we gave them to us. They were actually from someplace else. But Sanford and Son, they offered it to somebody else, and he didn't want to take it, so Red Fox took it. And, of course, he made it his own, the cantankerous guy that he was. It was his way, the Red Fox way or no way. He had to have part of his contract in his office suite / dressing room on the studio lot where they shot that. He had to have a whole big, huge window put in where there was always a wall forever and ever and ever. And that was part of his contract, that window was put in there. He demanded to have fresh air in that window. Of course, he was a chain smoker too. So I can appreciate that. I never smoked, but I can certainly understand why he wanted fresh air. But Red Fox really, the last year or two of his contract there doing Sanford and Son, he wasn't around because he was very upset at what he wasn't getting paid. So the last couple of years there, he wasn't around. And ultimately, that's why the show was canceled, because they just couldn't come to agreement with Red Fox and the renegotiation of his contract. But I'll tell you something, Sanford and Son was one of my favorite shows. I was on that show when I was a little kid. I played just a neighborhood kid that was, taking stuff from the junkyard, right? And he was chasing us off. We'd come back, he'd chase us off. We'd come back, he'd chase us off. So we had that gag running through the whole show. But it was an interesting experience when I was a little boy. Hey, anyhow, I'm not so little anymore. The Brown Beauty is on duty, and we got lots to talk about today. But I do want to let you know I'm going to be making an appearance later on tonight in the NoHo, baby. That's right, the NoHo, the Lamel Theater, Lamel number 7 in North Hollywood. And you know why they call it North Hollywood? Because it's north of Hollywood. Duh. Actually, it used to be called the city of Lancashire. And Isaiah Lancashire owned in the San Fernando Valley. If you've never been here, those of you that have, it's pretty big. The San Fernando Valley, for those of you in New York, is about the size of what Manhattan is like. And of course, they have all the big buildings crammed in there. We have suburbia here in the San Fernando Valley. But nevertheless, in the San Fernando Valley, Isaiah Lancashire actually owned half of the land at the turn of the 20th century. He came out here at the end of the Civil War and bought up all the land when California first became a state in tax sales and created wheat farm. In fact, all of the wheat in the United States of America came from Isaiah Lancashire and the Lancashire Ranch. We had actually 7 ranches here sprinkled through the San Fernando Valley. Van Nuys was one of them. Sherman Oaks was another one. Canoga Park was another one. These are cities that turned into cities, and these were actually different ranches. And North Hollywood, or Lancashire, was the other one. And something like 220,000 acres right in that area were his land. Unbelievable, isn't it? That's amazing. I mean, get on a horse. A horse can travel at a light pace for 20 miles a day. And so you can imagine the San Fernando Valley is about 30 miles wide and about 20, well, actually it's 26, it's 30 miles long and it's 20 miles wide. So it would take you a whole day riding a horse, a day and a morning, to get to the other end of the San Fernando Valley, this guy's ranch. Pretty amazing. So that is where North Hollywood is. And so I'm going to be out making an appearance. And the reason why I'm going to be there, because there's a terrific movie, a premiere movie. And if you are into the fascination of horror films, you're going to want to check this one out. It's called Holy Terror. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I saw some trailers. It's a scary one. It's one of those psychological kind of Exorcist and a little Freddy Krueger type feel in there too. So it's happening at the Lamel number 7 in the NoHo in North Hollywood, directed by Rich Mallory and written by Rich Mallory and his partner. We're going to be out there doing a little bit of premiere. They're going to start at around 6:15. I won't get there till a little after 7, but I'll try to capture some of the interviews before the show starts at 7:30. So we'll be out there. Welcome you to come out and say hi, buy a ticket if you're in the area, and if not, turn us on here at facebook.com/Jesse Terrero or Instagram Live. So we'll bring you all the festivities I'll be reporting to you here on the Jesse T Show. All right, so let's kind of start getting into what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be a potpourri of a lot of things. Got a lot of things on my mind. Yesterday, of course, we had Ling Tang. Ling Tang, I like her name. Ling Tang, Ling Tang, Ling Tang. Ling Tang, ding, 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 tang, ding, tang, ding, tang. So, you know who used to do a really funny bit? Cat Williams. If you've ever seen a Cat Williams comedy special, guy is ragingly funny. And he did a thing called Tintin. And Tintin was that guy Pretorius. I believe that was his name. I can't quite remember the Dutchman's full name and how to pronounce it. But a couple of years ago, he killed his girlfriend. This is the guy who ran in the Olympics without legs. He has those special running legs that he had. And he's the guy that was like at the top of the world in terms of everybody was so proud of this guy that he overcame amputation. It's just an amazing story, and he ended up shooting his girlfriend. Go figure that one. But Cat Williams used to do a thing about Tintin. He used to call him Tintin, and it was funny as heck. Funny as heck. He said, imagine the brothers having Tintin legs running away from the police. It'd be like he said, Cat Williams said, they could jump like gazelles. Ding, ding, ding. So it was very funny how Ling Tang was in last night. I don't know why that Ling Tang reminds me of Tintin, but she's got the Chinese Film Festival, the film festival, the Universal Multicultural Film Festival. We're going to be out there on Friday night to check out some of the Chinese flicks. Yeah, I'm going to get immersed in Mandarin Chinese for a couple of hours. Go figure that one. Yeah. No, that's more Japanese. That's more Chinese. See the difference? The Jolton Jays checking in. Jeff Langton, good to have you along, Mr. Langton. The Jolton Jay himself and his rock Booze Banned, baby. Saw him on the Congos the other night. We posted that up. Did you check it out? Very good. Saying hi also to Mikey's joined and Italy_Vips Protection. Italy Vips Protection Services. Hey, tell me more about what you do over there, Italy. And Goe Narshish is on with us, and thanks a lot. And others are chiming in. Those are some of the new folks that are chiming in with us. All right, so I kind of get into some of the topics that we're going to move into today. Bad guys always get guns. You know? Have you ever thought about that for a second? Bad guys always get guns. But the good guys never seem to have a weapon when they need one. It's amazing here in California that the good guys always get hurt because they can't protect themselves. It's not logical to me. Why do people create rules and laws that take the ability for the good guys, you and your family, to protect yourselves ultimately, if you have to protect yourselves that way, against the bad guys who just get guns? They don't even know how to shoot them, clean them, or keep them healthy. You got to keep your firearm healthy. So it's amazing to me when I run across these stories that, you know, bad guys win the day, bad guys broke into the liquor store, bad guys shoot, bad guys carjack, bad guys break the house down. And I run into these stories all the time, and I scratch my head and I say to myself, why is it that we just can't get it through our heads as a culture and a society that living in America, we have to have some protection for us, because the bad guys always have the weapons that can really overwhelm anything that we could manufacture. I mean, you don't bring a knife to a gun battle. All right, you just don't. You don't bring your fists to a knife battle. You just don't. In fact, I would rather face a gun than a guy who knows how to use a sharp-edged blade, because you're getting cut. It's not Hollywood. When you fight and attack with a sharp-edged blade, it's over within seconds, and both of you are cut badly in many, many places, and probably one or both of you will end up bleeding out. Yeah, it's not something that's portrayed in Hollywood, you know, where they do all this fancy stuff. And then all of a sudden somebody walks away and they don't have one scratch. Do yourself a favor. Get yourself a marker one day, okay? And put on a light-colored T-shirt all over your body. You know, put it on long sleeves. And get somebody and pretend. You don't have to have any skills at this. Pretend that you have a knife. And make that marker be your knife, like you'd hold it, right? And then just then attack each other and start whacking each other with the knife. Just start whacking each other. And then do that for about a minute. And then step away and count how many times you've just been cut. Because that's how many times you would have gotten cut. And not only that, count how many times you would have been cut in very serious places where within minutes you would bleed out. See, bad guys always have weapons. And I really believe that we have to have the ability in our society today, where everybody is mean, everybody is violent, everybody's prone to wanting to fight and fight and fight these days. For whatever reasons, it's not right, but that's what everybody wants to do. They just want to continue to fight and fight and fight and fight. And nobody seems to be able to, you know, compromise and talk things out these days. So with that in mind, I think that you really need to have some protection. Of course, you have to learn how to use it, and you know, and how to maintain it and keep it healthy, and how to clean it. And so you don't become a storyline in some news article on the internet. So you don't become somebody, you know, who can't live a nice, long, prosperous life. That's the last thing that you want to happen to you. And certainly what takes place in very violent acts is somebody wins and somebody loses. This is one of the reasons why that we need to protect our nation against bad guys. Because the bad guys that come here, well, since they're bad guys, they're always going to get weapons. Even if they come here and they don't have any weapons, they're going to get weapons. In Europe, they don't have any weapons for bad guys to get other than machetes, but the bad guys still seem to get weapons, don't they? In some of the countries around the world where there's very stringent gun control, where you cannot get a firearm, it seems like the bad guys always have them, don't they? Like that guy in England, he had a knife. But how many times have we seen the story where guys pull out guns and start shooting in countries where there are no firearms, supposedly? But the bad guys still get it. So we've got to protect our country from, one, letting in the bad guys, and two, allowing the bad guys to get bad guy weapons, or allow American citizens across this great nation of ours to arm themselves accordingly and protect themselves and get trained and maintain themselves so that they can defend their families. That's my take on it. It's just that simple. It's that simple. And because just like these three Iraqi refugees, they were just recently charged with immigration fraud. Now, look at this is why we have to have border patrols. This is why we have to have immigration laws. This is why we have to vet these people on the other side. Not only the people come here illegally from all parts of the world, not just the southern part of our hemisphere, but they come from all other parts of the world. And there are some places that people just don't like us. So we have to be able to protect citizens. Because if they're not going to let us have any guns, if they're always going to fight like here in the state of California, then please answer this question for me. How do we protect ourselves against the bad guys that come here that seem to be able to get the stuff to blow us up, to shoot us up, to destroy our buildings and kill our children? It just doesn't make sense. 3 Iraqi refugees have been arrested and charged with immigration fraud for allegedly trying to obtain naturalization as U.S. citizens in a manner that violates the law, the Justice Department announced in a statement just yesterday. Yosef Mashahandi, 35, of Vienna, Virginia, his brother, Adil Hassan, 38, of Burke, Virginia, and Hassan's wife, Inas Ibrahim, 32, also of Burke, Virginia, were arrested and will make an initial appearance before a judge. They did that already today in Alexandria, Washington. Place that's really close to the White House in Washington, D.C. See, bad guys are going to do bad guy things. So if we don't want more bad guys, then we got to keep the bad guys out of here before they get here. You don't want roaches in your house, so you clean your house and make sure the trash is in the trash cans and they're in plastic bags and they're all tied up nice and neat, put in the trash can so the trash person can pick it up at the time of the week that they're supposed to pick it up. You don't just let trash all around your front room lay rotten. You do that, you're going to get cockroaches and silverfish and rats and mice and ants and filth and disease and bacteria and all kinds of varmint activity. See, it's just common sense. And I just don't know why the left-wing, lefty, liberal lunatics don't get it. But it's funny. They will get it if something happens to their families. Think about that. Think about that. It just doesn't make sense. So if they're not going to let us, like here in California, arm ourselves to the teeth and protect ourselves, then they need to protect us by building a wall as high and deep as we need to make it, by making immigration to this country very difficult. People say, well, what about the Chinese? Well, here's what happens. There's an immigration law or regulation that says basically, if you've got $500,000, you can move to America, get your green card, and in a very short period of time, if you have a job, you buy a company, you have to buy a business that's been in existence for 2 years. Have $500,000, and you have to be able to support that business that employs people. It has to be a business that employs people already. And then you can move here, get your green card and your work visas, and in a very short period of time, you're going to become a citizen. That's how the Chinese are doing it. Well, they're going to raise that to 1.5 million. So there's a big push right now across the West Coast of Chinese people starting to flood that immigration law because they're looking at raising it to $1.5 million. Right now, it costs $500,000. In fact, I had the opportunity to broker a deal where one Chinese family bought a business at about $750, and So it placed right in those numbers, and it had 7 employees. And they came here, they put their family to work, and they grew their business, and they became citizens in a very short period of time. That's how they're doing it. But you see, there's the right way to do things, and there's the wrong way to do things. So we have to really start looking at things in a different point of view. It's like here in Los Angeles, Mayor Confetti Garcetti, we have a $250 million budget. Debt. Budget debt. That's soon going to go to $700,000 in the next 18 months. Yet we have one of the filthiest places to live in California. Now, go figure that. There's a new website where you can plug your address in and find out if your zone is called a pollution zone. It's interesting. We keep building buildings near freeways, even though living near freeways makes people sick. Does that just not make sense to you? It's just not logical. Our government is not logical. Our government does not think about you. Our government thinks about the government and making money. Because the job of the government at any level is to put money in the bank of the government. That's the bottom line. Because without money, governments don't exist. So their job is to create creative ways to take your money. Kathleen McDermott Rants, good to see you. I haven't seen you guys in a while. Thanks for checking in. I appreciate that. See, the government is like the big bad guy. They take your money, but they take it in insidious ways that we just give it to them because we have no choice. Where else are you going to live? You going to go live in Malaysia, Jakarta? You really want to move to El Salvador? You really want to go to France right now? Do you really want to live in New Zealand or Australia? Do you really want to live anywhere else? No, you don't. That's why not many people expatriate out of here, this country. Very small percentage. Because there's no other place better than living in the great USA. The greatest, the most beautiful and profitable and smartest and ingenious nation ever created by God. But yet, we have some distinct problems. And that is this left-wing liberal lunatic thinking. And it permeates everything. Not even the Republicans can get by their ideologues and their ideology. This whole Trump healthcare bill, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's Paul Ryan and the Republicans. They can't get it together. They're a bunch of babies in a room with a few toys arguing about who gets what toy and what toy goes to who. And then trying to take each other's toys when no one's looking. I wrote a little something about what I felt about that just recently. And I'm going to read it to you because it really bothers me. It bothers me that this president, President Trump, who's an outsider, is going to get the blame for this. Politics. President Trump has learned a very valuable lesson. And that lesson is that the Republican Party is really not a group of like-minded people looking for leadership or to solve or fix any problems. Those are all words of illusion and simplicity. In actuality, what they are a group of liars and cheats, backstabbers and power grabbers, greedy and corrupt people, just like the Democrat Party, who are even worse. None of them care about the American people, you or I, but care about being reelected with just enough votes over the line in their areas to stay in Washington, living the high life. Do you know, I know 10 congressmen pretty well, Congress people. Well, some of them I know really well out of that 10. I know 4 United States senators really well. I know a quarter of the California Assembly. I know probably 10% of the California Senate. I know everybody in Los Angeles city politics of any merit or deed, whether they're Democrat or Republican. Crap and Pew are pretty close to each other. Aren't they? It's all a stinky mess to me. So, what he has learned is why I stepped out of the Los Angeles political scene. I was running for council seat 7 here in the city of Los Angeles for about a year. And that, of course, would have been if I would stay in it and won, right? And I stepped away from my chair and my seat as a board member of the Sun Valley City Council Board, which is a part of CD6, as well. No matter what you want or what is right, nothing really ever changes, and the bureaucracy is just too rooted to move. This is what President Trump has found out. The bureaucracy is too rooted to move. The Republicans can't even get together on the same. You can't blame the president for that. You have to blame the swamp, the system. It's rooted. They killed President Kennedy because he wanted to break the system. Think about that one. Just put together history and presence, and I think answers. See, everybody will end up not liking you if you get into politics, or certainly not liking me, and you'll get nothing done for the people. If you're a free thinker, an individual thinker, to understand that our interests are not meaningful beyond electing someone, and no matter who they are, at what level, all changes never happen, and it just gets worse in Washington. Healthcare failure is not his fault. The blood really falls on the bloody ego of Paul Ryan, Republicans. Now, I still know that President Trump, and I believe this will be one of America's best presidents in our history. But I also know that the Republican Party is an enemy like the DNC, the president, and every president. And he finally knows it too. See, I am independent, and gosh darn it, I changed it just last week to independent. See, I think I'm going to start my own party. The ITIP party, which means Independent Thinkers, Individual Party. Independent Thinkers, Individuals Party. That's the new party that I'm going to be in. To get it together, I doubt very much that we will. This country is doomed to the death of the abyss of the bureaucracy. We will never have, ever, true term limits, and we will never, ever be able to get beyond the greedy rat bastards.
at all levels. It's shameful. It really is. Our best people know that they don't want to be politicians. Because who wants to walk around in that muck? So Fannie Mae began, Barney Frank, Dick Schumer, Dick Durr, guys back in the 90s, Henry
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac legislatively at the federal level, and they did. We get the 2008 subprime blow up because you give the banks an open ticket, baby. They take it, especially when they can get rid of all their bad loans, like bad guys on the United States taxpayer and the United States government. Hey, why not get the loans, dump the bad loans, and only keep the good ones? Makes sense to me. Boy, oh boy, I kind of like it. It's good to be a banker, isn't it? It's really good to be a banker. Mama, let your sons grow up to be bankers and your daughters grow up to be bankers, please. It's a good thing. It really is when you think about it. So Fannie Mae's now in trouble again. They're on the verge of going bankrupt again. After trillions of dollars are given, here's why. Over the last three or 4 years, what has been taking place is industry has changed on how it lends its money. Again, they are allowing these adjustable rate mortgages to come back into the field of play. Yeah, go figure. We're seeing articles everywhere now in the real estate and loan business where these adjustable rate mortgages are coming back into play. Are you out of your freaking American mind? Did we not learn already that kills us? Are you kidding me? You've got to be kidding me. Oh, they're so very good because they've waited a generation. Now the millennials are getting sucked into the abyss of that void of destruction. Don't get an adjustable rate mortgage. Business as a real estate broker and trusted advisor in California here for 40 years. And a loan specialist for over 20 years. Don't get an adjustable rate mortgage. I don't care how attractive it looks. Don't get it. You will not be a happy camper at some point. But if you do want to buy some cheap houses in Chicago right now, you can buy a house for $1. Move to Chicago and buy a house for $1. That's right, $1. You never know what you're going to learn here on the Jesse T Show. Live at 5, right here Monday through Friday. I'm going to right now. If you have $100, you can go buy 100 houses in Chicago. And Chicago is a big, big city. It's like the third largest city in America. Okay? They're selling $4,000. You made a huge profit. Okay? So what you do, I'm going to give you a clue. This is what you do. Okay, now listen closely, guys, because I want to be part of your action. So listen, because I'm ready to tell you. This is what you do. All right? You go, you take a flight ticket to Chicago. You go and you Cook County. And you go to the auction and you take $500 with you, or maybe $1,000 if you have that. Your investment is a flight ticket. And you do this in 24 to 48 hours, and you come home as you can with your. It doesn't make difference what you buy. It makes no difference. Just buy. Okay? And then what you do is this. You come back to California and you go on eBay and Craigslist and you make a little ad, and make it be a video ad, not just a typed ad, because nobody reads anymore. In fact, I don't think the American public knows how to read anymore. So what you do then is you go and you get a nice little eBay ad, or you put together a free or cheap website, and you hit all the social network services. Instagram Live, Facebook, Snapchat, Livestream, Periscope, all of them. All right, YouTube. So you hit these services, and this is what I have, houses for sale. And I want to sell them to you for really cheap. But I'm going to auction off a $1 house. That's what it's worth. It needs a lot of work. But I'm going to auction it off. All right? So what you want to do is I want you to be part of my auction. And what you do then is you charge them $1. You charge everybody $1 or $5 to be part of your auction. And what you say is, I'm going to auction it. Somebody's going to buy this house from me, $10,000, or for $5,000, and it's worth $10,000. It needs a lot of work. So when I get to $5,000, I'm going to pick from all the people who put their little card in the system and send me $5. I'm going to put that, and I'm going to pick somebody to win that house from me of money, $5,000 worth of money, from individuals that paid me $5 a piece with their dream of buying a house in Chicago for $5. I made $5,000. Is that brilliant? Oh, baby! Am I brilliant or what? You just made 5 G's. If you have 100 houses at 5 G's, go figure it out. When you start with maybe $1,000, find to Chicago. Buy a house. There you go. Just taught you how to use other people. There you go. Simple. You like that? What can I say? I can't help but being me. Justin T. The Brown Beauty is always on duty, giving you the very best information to make your life a little bit better. Now, let's talk about all this Russian stuff as we start to get to the end of the show. This Russian stuff. Russian stuff is still in the news. That's all that is. This is what this is. This is the regular media at the press conferences every day. There is no Russian connection that's directly linked to President Trump. It's been proven. Nunez.
Really? Wiretap with wiretap? Are you kidding me? Trump was tapped, man.
It's that simple. They can surveil you. You don't think I'm right? There's satellites up there. They can tell you if you farted at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. If they want information, they can get it. And who are they?
Remember how I started this? The government only cares about itself. When push comes to shove, and there's a zombie apocalypse in America, do you think for 1 second the government is going to give a rap to Brooklyn Bridge for sale? For $1. And I'm going to do an auction. Really? What happened to your logic and common sense, America? What happened to being 1 and 1 is 2? 1 and 1 is not 3. You're so full of malarkey that you've been brainwashed from your childhood to think and act a different way or a certain way that you can't get beyond the way in which that is to logic and common sense. What in the world is so America being the greatest and strongest nation, God's blue, green, or earth, is so wrong with us protecting every citizen in the country? What in the world is so wrong? If you can't figure your sexuality, you're too freaking fast. Take a blood test, a DNA test. That'll tell you whether you're a female or a male. No matter what they attach to your body on the outside. What is so wrong? What is so wrong? What is so wrong with all this name calling and this race baiting that everywhere? It's they feed the fire with gasoline. This race baiting, whether you're black, brown, Asian, purple, green, pink, polka dot, because of mainstream media, it's because of TV, it's because of violence, it's because of lack of education, it's because of lack there's a lack of spirituality, it's a lack of community. It's the lack of being an American. Oh, yeah. There's great order in chaos. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Why don't we worry about Fukushima that's polluting 1/3 of the oceans in aviation, and you're not going to be able to go in the water in the oceans pretty soon. Don't you dare eat any Pacific water food. I'm telling you right now, you're going to get radiated. They got radiation spray in the sun at the top because their roots don't go down. They get their water from the dew and the mist comes in at 300 feet. And it's got radiation in it. Why are we worried about that? We are the most giving nation in the planet Earth. We've given so much to the educated, they're judges, they're doctors, they're engineers, there's millionaires, there's, what, Really? There's more poor white people in this country than anybody. Why? Duh, because there's 220 million Caucasians. I just, people are so stuck on pigment and color People are so stuck. People are so stuck on all this crap, and I'm really sick and tired of it. And it's because you've been taught since you were a little kid to think a certain way, to look at things, and now more than ever before, evil satanic organizations called the networks, called the... There's great control. My goodness, don't you get that in the heat of war and battle? Get you riled up, and they enter your brain, and they tell you everything. They tell you to fight and kill, but yet they won't let me pack a 45 on my side in California to protect myself against some stupid idiot, white boy, trash idiot that wants to carjack me and he's stuck on meth, begging money at the goddamn Arcos. How long? I'm sick and tired of it. Man, do you know what I... No, I'm going to tell you what I know about that. I count the friggin' homeless for 10 years in this city. Why? Because every year coming up in a few months, every city in America counts the homeless. Why? Because that's how federal funding comes to the state. So they demand that the state demands the cities and the counties to count the homeless. Have you ever gone into the villages, in the hobo villages in Tenerife City? They don't want to leave. Why? Because they make $60,000 worth of freebies. Hey, the Brown Goody John Duty. This is the world according to Torero. You're straight on the point. This is Jesse T. And I'm cutting wood. And I point the finger where I think the finger needs to be pointed. And I don't care the way that the trees fall. At stake. Your humanity is at stake. We need love, compassion. We need empathy. They can sword against each other and pick up a handshake and have some trust. That's what we need. Give it to you, man. Because hey, I'm a holy terror. I got a premiere to go to. Check us out in 1 hour. We're going to be busting out live right here on Facebook.com/Jesse Torero. See ya.